you. It's so great to be here and see you all tonight. So welcome, everyone. We are AIAA at UCF. That stands for the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, and this is our first GBM of the fall. This evening, we will be discussing who we are, what we do, and how you can get involved with our student organization. Following that, we will have our guest speaker, Ms. Susie Allen-Sierpinski, who is a missions integration engineer from NASA.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Christian. This is going to be a little bit about who we are. We are the University of Central Florida student branch of AIAA. As of right now, we have one of the largest AIAA student chapters in the nation. And as many of you are aware, we pretty much design projects. We have 5 projects, and we have 2 new projects this year that we're going to introduce later on. We do a lot of networking with peers and mentors, and we pretty much just explore the world of aerospace.
All right, so this is this year's e-board. I'm Emma, I'm the president. Christian is our VP. Amelia is our secretary. Alessandra is our treasurer, and Nathan over here is our projects chair. So now we're going to share a little more about us so you guys can know who we are. So I am majoring in aerospace. I joined AIAA last fall. I participated in our aviation vehicle design project. I was the event coordinator in the fall, and then I was vice president in the spring. During my free time, I enjoy baking, cooking, playing piano, going on nature walks around Central Florida. And my fun fact is that over the past few years, I have been collecting vintage metal lunchboxes.
All right, guys. And as I mentioned earlier, my name is Christian. My major is aerospace engineering. My AIAA involvement has been quite a bit. I've done the quadcopter project, our rocket design project. I did our L1 program that we offer in the spring. I did AVD, and I'm also the sponsorship committee lead. I have a lot of hobbies. These are primarily my favorite ones: pickleball, basketball, spikeball, Xbox, and hanging out with friends. And a fun fact about myself is I'm currently working on my L2 project. It's not done, it's almost done, but hopefully launch in the next month or 2. But yeah.
All right, so I will be introducing our secretary and treasurer because they are on an errand getting the pizza. So Amelia is our secretary. She is also studying aerospace engineering. She has been involved with rocket design. She got her L1 certification with the workshop in the spring, and she has also done quadcopter design. Her hobbies include rock climbing, nature walks, and traveling. And her fun fact is that she has made the round trip drive from Chicago to Orlando over 20 times. So that is our secretary. All right, our treasurer is Alessandro Sandri. He is majoring in computer engineering. He has done our quadcopter design project, and his hobbies include traveling, fixing computers, cooking, and baking. And his fun fact is that he will jump through hoops to commit to the bid. So don't let him fool you. All right. And we have Nathan.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm a mechanical engineering major with AIAA UCF. I've been involved with Night Dash, which is an old project, and the hovercraft design competition. My hobbies include mentoring high school robotics, programming, and diving. And my fun fact was made for me, but it is that I eat burritos as if they are apples.
All right, so that is this year's e-board, and I can confidently say on their behalf that we are all very excited to be working with you and put in the work to provide the opportunities that come with being a member of AIAA at UCF. Now I'd like to introduce our club faculty advisors. We have Dr. Kaufman and Dr. El-Gahari, both who are professors here at UCF, and both with very strong backgrounds in engineering. So now I'd like to invite Dr. Kaufman to come up and say a few words.
So you can read what's up there. I just want to share a little bit about my background. I guess I'll try to kind of follow the same format that y'all were doing. My degrees were all aerospace engineering, or the closest thing to it that was offered. So one thing that's kind of interesting about my undergrad institution, Caltech, is it's really, really small. So like the entire class would fit in this room. So there were like everyone who graduated with me in undergrad would have fit in this room. So there were, I think, about 5 other aero majors in my year. So I'm really excited to see so many people interested in joining AIAA or being part of AIAA and getting to take advantage of some of these projects. What else did you have? Hobbies?
Hobbies.
Okay, hobbies. All right. So, you know, I'm a nerd. I enjoy doing research and teaching aerospace engineering, I guess. I recognize a few of you. I'm teaching aerostructures right now. It's only the 2nd time I've gotten to teach that in my now 13th year at UCF. But my wife and I have 4 children, so a lot of our hobbies are around those sorts of things. You know, they're in scouts. We have things with church and just, you know, other events in the neighborhood. And we got to travel to London for a conference this past summer. So I took them all along, and that was their first international trip. So that was a lot of fun. And then fun fact?
Fun fact.
Okay. All right. So inspired by the driving to Chicago and back, my wife and I are both from Pennsylvania. And so we drive back and forth there, you know, once or twice a year to see family. And we've got, as I said, 4 kids. So it's expensive to fly. So we just drive. And so we drive through the night because then the kids will sleep and we can actually get there. So I said, I'm a nerd. I listen to the Supreme Court oral arguments as I drive. And that keeps me awake. All right.
All right, guys. And now, new to this year, we have 3 committees that we are introducing. So our first one is going to be our media committee. And I'm just going to explain or mention the names really quick, and then I'll explain a little bit about each one in a later slide. So we have our media committee. We have Zach, Alex, Carmina, and Nyala. Next is going to be our events committee. We have Nyala and Rohan. And then our final committee is going to be our sponsorship committee, which I am the sponsorship committee lead. That is going to consist of me, Lucas, and Logan. So as of right now, we have ongoing committee recruitment. And what that means is media committee is going to be in charge of capturing projects and member involvement through photography and videography. They are also going to be responsible for sharing club events and news through graphic design and social media. Events committee is going to be primarily responsible for the coordination of club events on and off campus. And they also oversee organization of socials and volunteer opportunities, and local fundraising. And then the last committee is going to be the sponsorship committee. And we are primarily responsible for the external outreach to industry companies to gain funding and support for the club. And that is how we are able to fund all these projects for you guys, give you good experience, put stuff on your resume, and all that good stuff.
All right, so to kick off the school year, we already have 2 upcoming events. Our first one is a pickleball fundraising tournament organized by Christian.
All right, guys, I'm super excited to announce this. Next Friday, so September 13th at 5 p.m., we are hosting a pickleball tournament. So before I continue with this, how many of you have played pickleball by show of hands? A good amount. How many of you have heard of pickleball? Hopefully we've all heard of pickleball. A decent amount. Okay, awesome. All right, guys. So this is a great way to, you know, meet the faces of AIAA, get out there, get involved, have a great time first and foremost. Guys, shh. Okay. All right. Thank you. But yeah, like I said, this is a great way to get involved, meet the faces of AIAA, also have a good time first and foremost. Just a little bit about the tournament, really briefly. There is a $100 cash prize. So for those of you who raise your hand who have played pickleball before, if you're super competitive, there's a $100 cash prize. It's only first place though. There's no second place prize or anything like that. There's 16 teams. It's double elimination, and paddles will be provided. So those of you who don't have pickleball paddle, just make sure to go because we'll provide everything for you. We have pickleballs provided, pickleball paddles provided, and we also have bottled water. That way you guys don't die of dehydration because it's very hot out there and we don't want that. The sign up is going to be on our link tree at the very end of this presentation. It's going to be a QR code. It's also going to take you to a bunch of other important links. But yeah, that is where you can sign up, is at the very end. So make sure you stay till the very end.
All right, our next event, it'll be the following week after pickleball, is a bowling social at Boardwalk Bowl. This will be Thursday, September 19th at 9:30. There will be a reservation fee that you can buy for $3 on our AIAA website. This is also a great opportunity to come out, meet other members, have some fun, If you can't make it to the pickleball fundraiser, then you can come out for bowling. All right, so now for the fun part, our design projects. This year, we will be offering 7 different projects. They are all aimed to be beginner friendly, and all our project leads will take you through the steps that you need to design and build your aircraft. We have 2 new ones, which is the glider design and the blimp project. But in total, we have 5 recurring projects, 1 experimental, and a competition project offered by our national organization. So up first, we have our aviation vehicle design. So if we could welcome our leads.
My name is Austin Fleming, and I'm the lead. We have John over here to my right. He's the co-lead. Ian is unfortunately can't be here today. He is out of town. Carmina is to my right, the assistant lead. So basically what we do is we teach you how to design, simulate, and manufacture an RC aircraft from the ground up. You want to come in, you don't need any experience whatsoever. We will teach you literally everything you need to know about this. Little experience is wonderful. If not, who cares? We'll teach you. Freshmen are more than welcome to join. Please do. Doing that, you will learn SolidWorks and XFLR 5. We use those to simulate and build your designs. At the end of the fall semester, you will present your projects to industry-based professionals, and you'll be graded on, not really graded, but you'll be graded on that, get feedback from it, change your designs over the summer or the winter, and then spring comes around, you'll manufacture it, and then we'll have a fly day at the very end before finals are due. If you want to come out to the joint meetings, they'll be Mondays at 6 and Wednesdays at 7:30. Anything?
No, I think you covered it all. We're very excited to have a new project, or not new project, but new semester. And we're really excited for you guys to join us, okay? Got anything?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys. So that was our ABD. Now we are introducing rocket design. So welcome our rocket leads.
Oh, I'm leading this year? Okay. All right, everybody, welcome in. My name's Dylan Moga. I'm the rocket design head lead in title only. I'm joined here by my brilliant team, followed by
Lucas Bayo, Alex Plant, Nico Zentefis,
Maximus Haddad. Bunch of beautiful faces. Get used to them. You'll be seeing them a lot more often. And yeah, we build rockets. Go over the next slide. Oh, sweet. There it is. All right, guys. So here in rocket design, we start you guys off from a really base level of building rockets. We start you off from nothing. So what we do is we teach you guys how to design, simulate, build, and launch your own rockets. Now, starting off in the fall semester, we do rocket design, sort of base. It's a 9-week program where you guys get together in teams of about 4, and you guys go through the whole process of learning all the programs like SolidWorks and OpenRocket, which are great in order to learn the whole process. And then that way we can teach you guys all the different, bits and ends to actually putting together a boomstick and launching it about 1,000 feet in the air. And yeah, we get to have a lot of fun with it. And then that leads into our spring program, which, Lucas, drum roll, please.
Hey guys, I'm Lucas Velo. So after you build a mid-power rocket in the fall, we encourage you to join our spring program where you build a high-powered rocket for your level 1 certification. And with your level 1 certification, you're nationally recognized as someone that can build a rocket and be trusted with a explosive. But what comes with an L1 is a lot more experience that you don't really gain in rocket design. There's a lot more aerodynamic forces. You're going a lot faster, so there's just more simulating, more advanced assembly things. But yeah, it's a good thing to have on your resume. And these are our meeting times: Tuesdays at 6:30 and Wednesday at 7 p.m. So we hope to see you there.
Please go. We'd love to have you guys. It's a great program. We had a lot of fun with it last year. Might see some familiar faces up on those pictures. That fellow on the grays, quite dashing looking, I must say. Oh, do you?
You have 38 seconds.
So 30. All right, so, sorry guys, we're given time limits and I'm gonna use all of them, so you guys are stuck here. So basically what we like to do is we like to be a lot more hands-on with our projects here. We make sure you guys meet up weekly. You guys are getting in teams. Our first meeting days are next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, so please go for those signups. We're only allowed to send so many teams, so please get in if you can. We'd love to have you guys. We're gonna get you guys hands-on in the TI lab with actually putting it all together. Be ready to huff some epoxy. Those of you guys who have used it before, it smells quite good and it sticks in the clothes.
All right, next up, I'd like to introduce our quadcopter design.
If I have a video, if the video doesn't play, just click on it. Hi, my name is Connor Tyson. I am the heads lead for quadcopters.
I'm Gabriel Johnson. I'm the assistant lead.
I'm Eric Bobadilla. I'm the co-lead.
So in this project, you'll learn how to design, build, and fly your very own quadcopter. For those who don't know, FPV stands for first person point of view. That means you're basically able to fly this thing with actually seeing it through the camera. You also have goggles that you'll see through. That's some video footage of my own personal quad you can kind of look at. So to design it, you'll be using SolidWorks. So participants will learn, of course, how to use SolidWorks, building individual parts, putting that into a big assembly to showcase their final quadcopter, and then they'll expose the DXF, which we'll use to laser cut the acrylic. Participants will learn how to fly their quadcopter from a simulator we use, Liftoff, if you might have ever heard of it, where they can learn, of course, how to fly it in FPV. We will teach you how to fly in LOS, which is line of sight, and FPV. So, because FPV people kind of get disoriented quickly. So, our meetings are gonna be Monday, 6:30 to 8:20, and then Tuesday, 7 to 8:50. Anybody else?
You got it, bro.
All right.
All right, guys, so that was our quadcopter project, and now introducing hovercraft design.
Alrighty, I'm Ethan. I am the hovercraft lead.
I'm Vivek. I'm the assistant lead.
I'm also Ethan. I'm an assistant lead. Alrighty, and here at Hovercraft Design, we build hovercrafts. So each semester we have a different themed game we're doing. This semester is going to be jousting. We're going to take you through the entire design process. If you're a beginner, it's no problem, no experience necessary. The project's super beginner friendly. We're going to be teaching you CAD, design, taking you into the TI lab to laser cut out the hovercrafts themselves. If you're not a beginner, there's also plenty of room in the project. There's a lot of opportunities to do a lot more advanced stuff with the crafts. With this specific semester's competition, we're gonna be doing jousting, which is effectively hovercraft battle bots. There's a lot of room for making all kinds of fun mechanisms, defenses, and different mechanical pieces on your crafts to help duel. We're gonna be having dueling hovercrafts. Our meetings are Tuesdays, 7:30 to 9:20, and Wednesdays, 6 to 7:50. You only have to go to one of the two meetings. So if you're interested in doing dueling aircrafts this semester, stop by for a hovercraft meeting.
I just wanted to say one quick thing. I had no experience at all before I joined Hovercraft last semester, and I learned how to design this whole thing in one semester just through one of these meetings a week. So it's really amazing what you can do just by coming once a week to one of these workshops, and I'll go through all the projects here, but I had a really fun time and I'm excited to lead.
I'm gonna say something. All right, guys, and I just want to say something really quick before we move on. All of our projects have 2 meeting days a week, but that does not mean you have to go to both days. So the same information will be covered on both days. So if you can't go Monday, for example, and the next meeting day is Tuesday, just make sure you make it Tuesday. But yeah, as long as you make it the one day, you guys will be good.
All right, now we have our glider design. Over the summer, we got a strong group of people working to develop this new project to offer for you. So let's welcome gliders.
Hello. I'm Zach.
I'm Devin.
And I'm Jacob. We're going to be your glider leads for this semester. We're a new project, so we're kind of working through everything, but
we're very beginner friendly. Where if you saw AVD, they introduce a lot of topics. We're kind of introduce you to the basics of those topics before you get to there. It's kind of like if you didn't want to jump into something very head first, we're there to like be your life jacket, if you know what I mean. We're hands-on, we're designing, building, and flying your very own gliders. It's not teams like other projects. You get to keep your own glider. You don't have to do rock, paper, scissors for your rocket or your hovercraft or your whatever else. We're learning CAD and SolidWorks, XFL R5, which you use in AVD, kind of the introduction.
He said there's no teams, but it's either solos or you can be it's not the same thing. There's duos. Yeah. Solos and duos is different, guys.
I'm sure. What are meetings? Our meetings are on Tuesdays from 6 to 7:50 or Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8:20.
And I do want to reiterate, we're very beginner friendly. If you're scared to join the big projects, join us, okay? Join us.
All right, guys. So this is going to be our second new project this year. It's going to be our blimp project. So now introducing our blimp lead, Nadav.
Hey everybody, so this is the blimp project. This is the first time we're doing this one. I am the only lead. I need a couple more assistant leads, so I'm gonna look out for you guys if you come. This is my slide, not as nice as everybody else, as you can see, but this is gonna be completely proof of concept. So we're gonna go into a whole research and design phase. First time we're ever doing this. A couple skills that you might learn on the way. These are a couple pictures of other colleges that did it. We're gonna try to make it look like the one all the way to the left. Couple skills, CAD, we're probably gonna use SolidWorks just like everybody else. RC systems, anybody interested in electrical engineering too, join us. Motors, servos, maneuvering, right? Everything, building a whole blimp from scratch. Think how cool that could look on your resume. And yeah, that's it, join us. We don't have meeting dates yet. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Monday, 7 p.m. I'm going to announce it on the Discord when I'm going to have the exact room.
Thank you. Last but not least, we have our design, build, fly of our national AIAA competition.
Alrighty, I'm Zachary Gaudio. This is
Avery Otley.
And this is Design, Build, Fly. But before we get into it, we have a few people who are already on the team. Can you guys get a little loud for me real quick? Come on. All right, there we go. What is Design, Build, Fly, you may ask? We are a national competition where you have universities, I know I just said national, from all over the world who come to one spot in Tucson, Arizona, to compete in a great, huge competition. And the winner gets a cash prize. And it is awesome. It's super cool. Year-long project, all righty? You know AVD, right? We're like AVD, but we go even further. We're one big team. We don't split into smaller ones because there's a lot of work that needs to get done. What do you reckon, Avery?
Join TBF.
We're not done yet, buddy. Because what's this year's challenge? This year's challenge is the X1 Supersonic program. The goal in this year's competition is we have to have external tanks on the plane with as much weight as we can cram on there, and we have to carry an autonomous glider that we have to drop mid-flight and land within a 200-foot by 200-foot square. I know 200 feet sounds like a lot. It's not. So we're going to need people who know controls, who know all that fun stuff. If this sounds cool at all to you, please look into it. We're going to hit the ground running. Our first meeting is going to be next week, probably on Monday. We're still kind of figuring out the rooms because the register is being slow. I'll have something after the meeting. Oh, we had a question? Hang on. Who was raising their hand? That's one way of putting it. Yep. All righty. Avery, any closing comments?
It's not a bomb, it lands.
Oh, one more question. We're a little different. Most of our work will be done outside of meetings. We're probably only going to have one meeting a week. You should really show up. We're not going to have two because it's just with the nature of the project, two wouldn't really work. We're not, the first one is on Monday. We're not sure about further ones. We're kind of waiting to hear back about rooms. If you can't make Mondays, that's fine. You don't need to show up to meetings because we're going to post everything that needs to get done. We're going to have a Trello board. It's going to be great. All right.
All right, recently we've been working with other organizations, and now we'd like to give them a moment to share, who they are and what opportunities they have to offer you. So now I'd like to invite Pegasus pilots up to the stage.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Ooh, we got a really big crowd tonight. That's good. Okay, before I start my presentation, there's a question I always like to ask before I get started to make sure I give my presentation the best way possible. By a show of hands, if in the slightest you've ever thought about flying a plane or getting your pilot's license, raise your hand. Whoa, I'm so surprised. Did you see that? What? Yeah. All right, well, let me go ahead and give my spiel. First of all, my name is Andrew Chowdhury. I am the proud president of Pegasus Pilots, the premier aviation RSO here at the University of Central Florida. We specialize in catering to those with an interest in flight. If you've ever thought of flying a plane, getting your pilot's license, or anything of that sort, we are the RSO for you. And for some reason that I don't understand, Emma keeps letting me come back on stage. Here we are. For those of you who remember me from the spring, what's up? For those of you who haven't yet seen us, it's great to see you. And if you have any questions, whether it's the smallest question or the biggest question, we are, first of all, I'm just going to this out there, we're happy to talk to you after I give them a little spiel today. After the meeting, come up and talk to us. We got Amit Kaprasad. He is our secretary, our media director who just came from Clash, the one and only Mr. Josh Heidhouse. And then this is Jovan Alfonso, our outreach director. The great thing about Pegasus Pilots is that we have a lot of people that are highly passionate about what they do. And if you have that kind of passion, great. And you know what? If you don't even have the biggest interest and you're like, well, I think I want to fly. Yeah, we welcome you too. We have people all the time from different kinds of backgrounds that, what are you guys laughing at? From different kinds of backgrounds that have questions, and we welcome that because it's far better to have a thought or an idea and at least give it a shot than not try at all, right? That's the whole point of college. So that being said, I wanted to show you guys in the right half of this picture some examples of the things that we had done in the spring. When we first came up here in the spring, we didn't have much. We said, hey guys, we have this idea. We swear it's good, but now we actually have some proof for it. Whether that was our first ever guest speaker, Phil DeMaria, a former firefighter with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, who eventually decided to do the same thing from a few hundred feet or a few thousand feet in the air. Emma, does she look familiar to you? You know this lady? You know her by chance? We actually had a member over the summer, Wesley Dominica, who started and finished and earned his private pilot license or certificate, however you want to look at it. So, that was a little cool moment. Our outreach director, Joe Vaughn, wherever you are, you changed your flight, or I should say career path from being a flight nurse to being a pilot. You got the money, you took your first ever Discovery flight, had that proud Papa Bear moment, watching him on Flight Radar 24, going up and down the coast. We've had a ton of tremendous things happening. Oh yeah, and of course, you gotta love the air shows, going to Sun and Fun, Vero Beach, Jacksonville, Orlando, Sanford, and things of the like. So we have a ton of cool stuff that we are extremely excited and anxious to get started because we have been itching to make this happen for the longest time. So that being said, I feel like the right half of the picture is a good way of encapsulating what we are about. Now, that was the spring semester. I know about you guys, but I'm excited about the fall. I think it's going to be great. Call me biased, but as the president of this RSO, I think they're pretty good. And I will say that if you show up to our GBM and you say, hey, you know what, I don't know, not so sure about that, that's fine. But I'll tell you what, one thing that I like to make, not as a promise, but just something to say, is in the second slide, we have our QR codes for our Discord, our Instagram, and our YouTube channel. On our YouTube channel, we do have some recorded GBMs that you guys can take a look at if you are interested. And in that, I also believe that when I'm making this pitch to the audience, it's important to just, say it and also show it. So that is something that I am extremely big on. So, whatever, I'll take it. There's the QR codes. I was planning to time it, but it's okay. Real quickly, before I do forget to mention it, we also, like I said, we're here to talk to you after. John Bradley, who happens to be one of our members. John, can you raise that clipboard for me that I gave you? I didn't tell him what I was doing, just higher. There we go. That clipboard, we have some little sign-up sheets to get your information if you would like to get involved with us and get in touch with us. Can you go back one more slide, please, really quick? I need to show them something. We also have a first GBM this October 1st and a social that's coming up. To give you a hint for our guest speaker, I can't say too much, but he did go to a certain school, and the name of the school starts with top and ends with gun. That's all I can tell you. You'd never guess where he went. Never guess. Anyways, you can go to the next slide. Sorry, I should have mentioned that ahead of time. But that's who we are. That's Pegasus Pilots. Please follow our Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. Come up and talk to us after if you have any questions. And for some reason, these folks have been so kind to us. Let us come back up on the stage and talk to you. So thank you again, folks. I appreciate it. Have a great night.
All right, now from our national organization, we have Max to introduce you guys about AIAA Young Professionals.
Thanks, Emma. This is the world's smallest microphone, by the way. So, man, this is awesome to be here. This is a huge lecture hall. My graduating class was 100 people, so this is just great to see. So I'm here to talk about young professionals. You guys, that's the reason why you're all here, I hope, besides the pizza, is that one day you'll graduate. And what happens then? Well, you tend to hopefully get a job. You start to make some money. You, instead of paying the school, they pay you. That's kind of the goal. And they pay you hopefully racks and stacks. But so I'm a young professional here. And the goal is basically that there's a huge, you guys are in Florida, so you're very lucky because there's a big industry here. There's a lot of corporations. There's the Space Coast. You got SpaceX. Everyone's around. So this is kind of the place that once you graduate, you probably don't have a family yet, probably don't have kids yet. To kind of like, do you want to do a startup? Do you want to join a startup? Do you want to join a big corporation? Do you want ideas for your DBF for all these rocketry? Is that just a neutral ground to talk? So essentially, there's a few goals here. Mentorships, I think, was discussed a few times. We definitely want to help with your career development opportunities. I know there's a lot of questions of sometimes of you're going to college, what's next? Once you graduate, they give you a big, nice certificate, and then it's like, welcome to the adult sandbox. What do you do next? You can do almost anything. It's amazing. But sometimes it helps to have some people that are in industry give you kind of some options and opportunities. So let's go to the next slide. So I did the same thing. What you're doing here, it works. It does. I was an intern. I worked at UT Austin, so I'm from Texas. Hook 'em, baby. And I worked as a power system engineer on something called the Hyperloop. Anyone know what a Hyperloop is? Okay, a few. All right, awesome. It's a project that Elon Musk did, which was essentially a vacuum tube, so you could go theoretically infinitely fast. And it works. So we ended up going, instead of Tucson, Arizona, we went to LA. So I got to go out to LA, got to meet Elon Musk, got to compete. And that was still while I was in college. That led me to being able to graduate, work at Apple. I worked at Apple as a transit data analyst when Maps was really shitty. So I left. And I got a job out here in Orlando. They have no state income tax here. So taxes is a big thing once you graduate and start getting paid. You want to keep as much as you can. So did that. COVID hit. I decided that I wanted to try something in finance. I was actually a commodity trader up in Boston for a year during COVID. So you guys went online. I decided to take the no income tax in here, but traded virtually. So that was fun. But finance wasn't for me. I actually really did like engineering. So I actually went back to Lockheed. And now I'm a systems architect for special programs, which is called special because it's classified. But it works. I'm currently doing a master's at USC. Not at USC. My apologies. Did a certificate at MIT. So this is the path I'm on. I graduated in 2017. it still works. We do a lot of work with CWEPs, and we can definitely talk about that later. Let's go to the next slide. So how you get involved with us is kind of the goal. If you guys want to pull out your phone and take down this QR code, I want you guys to vote on some stuff, right? I want to know what you guys like. We have some dinero to spend, but I can't buy everything. So there's some cool things on there. We rented out like the cable park, wakeboarding park. We rented out a Solar Bears box. If you've ever been to the box at the Kia Center, a lot of fun. We're doing tours on the Space Coast, but there's a lot of few lists here. We also do resume workshops. If anyone wants to look at people that actually hire you, what they think of your resume, we can do something there. But yeah, so also if you have any suggestions, if there's something you guys want to see, if anything that I mentioned here actually really interests you, or if you just want to say hi or hey, don't ever come back, there's a suggestion field, you can put it there. My contact will be with y'all. I didn't put on the slide, that's my apologies, but thanks for having me. I hope you guys have a great school year this year and enjoy the pizza.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So now I'm going to talk about our Lockheed Martin mentorship program. So this year, AIAA has been working with Lockheed Martin to offer a mentorship program for our members. Basically, this is an 8-week program where you will be paired one-on-one with a Lockheed Martin employee. You guys can go over from anything from interview advice to resume tips, this, that, and the third. But yeah, it's honestly a great opportunity. If you scan the QR code, that's going to be our sign-up form. Applications are open right now, but they will close on Friday, September 13th. And yeah, so make sure you scan the QR code. And we have merch. So this is a great way to represent AIAA. All funds received through this will go back to you guys in one way or another. So we have our 2023 to 2024 shirts, which will be right here. We have mystery bags, flight tags, stoles, and 23 to 24 polos. Our mystery bags contain a shirt design from one of our previous years. It's a great way to get an AIAA shirt at a lower price. But yeah.
All right, so how much does this cost you all? Our yearly membership dues are $30. This will give you access to all of our design projects. You are not limited to just one. You can join as many as you are available to do, as many as you're interested in. But it doesn't stop with our projects. We also have different networking opportunities. We're working on trying to offer some tours with industry companies, and we are also working to offer professional development opportunities. So this is the only fee you pay to participate in any of our projects. So we have AIAA at UCF, which is us, and AIAA National, our wonderful parent organization. What's the difference? AIAA at UCF spans your scholastic career, whereas AIAA National will span your professional career. So as I mentioned before, our student chapter offers you projects and networking within UCF and local opportunities. And AIAA National will give you access to different regional and national conferences, technical papers, aerospace journals, and other networking with industries, professionals within the industry. These are both great organizations, both have great benefits. So if you're interested, these are great to get involved with. So. All right, so up here is our QR code. This will take you to our link tree where you can sign up for projects, pay dues, apply for all the different applications that we have mentioned to you. And now we are working on bringing the pizza. So for that, we will have you guys line up on either side of the aisle and we will help serve that. And then after pizza, we will have our guest speaker. Listening to our first presentation and staying for pizza. And now I'd like to invite Susie Allen-Sierpinski. She is a NASA Mission Integration Engineer. Let's welcome her to the stage.
All the things in my hand. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for staying after you got your pizza and not just leaving. I appreciate that. Makes me my drive worth it all the way from Merritt Island. All right, so as I said, I'm Susie Allen-Sierpinski. I am a mission integration engineer for the Deep Space Logistics organization. I am the lead for the DSL-1 mission. That is going to be our first logistics mission out to lunar orbit. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in England. You can't hear the accent. I've been here for a while. You might hear it some words. Don't ask. I got my bachelor's in aerospace engineering at Florida Tech, and then I went on to do a master's in applied aviation safety and human factors. A couple years later, I did a master's in industrial and systems engineering at University of Florida. This is my first time on the UCF campus, and I didn't get lost. I was really proud of myself. I started working out at KSC back in 2006. I worked the last few years of the shuttle program. Yes, I am that old. I was fortunate enough to be a member of the final inspection team for the shuttle program. So we would go out to the pad after it was fueled, make sure that there was no issues with the vehicle. We'd look for ice, debris, any foam issues following Columbia, and just generally check on the status of the vehicle. So that was a pretty cool job. There was only 7 of us out of the launch pad, and then after we were done with our work, then the crew and the team that closed out the vehicle would come out to the pad. Following that, I worked for Orion on the Orion program for a little while, working on the safety of processing at Kennedy Space Center. And what did I do after that? Then I went to DC, so I thought that was a good idea. I worked for the FAA in the commercial space office. So the commercial space office is was at the time a small organization that licensed a couple of launches a year. Now they're a little busier. But I was responsible for looking at the system safety programs of our applicants. So at the time it was SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, Blue, ULA, and we licensed all of their launches. From there, I went to the DoD. I worked for the Department of Navy at NAVAIR up in Maryland, and I worked on a program called Next Generation Jammer, and that was a weapon system that went on the electronic attack version of the F-18. Very cool program. I worked on that program for 6.5, almost 7 years, and then I got the opportunity to come back to NASA, and I was really tired of shoveling snow. So my family and I, we came back home. I've been back at NASA maybe 4 years now. We live in Merritt Island, so it's only a 15-minute commute door to door. It's my shortest commute ever. And that's important when you get old. I don't like to be sitting in my car, but I spend a lot of time driving my son around to soccer practice and taekwondo and goodness knows what else. In my spare time, not that I have very much of it these days, but I am a master's rower. And I started rowing in college and continued rowing. And I'm a pilot, and what else? I think that's pretty much it. Woo! I kind of wish we'd had an organization like yours at Florida Tech, because that would have been really cool. But as I mentioned, I have a son and a fur child, which are the other things that I do. All right, so I guess we'll start at the beginning of the Artemis program. Who was here in the Central Florida area for Artemis 1 back in November 22? That's not bad. All right, so I was going to do a quick recap so that for those of you that weren't here can see the launch, and for those of you who were, you can also see the splashdown and the rest of the mission. So we'll see if this works.
50 years after we last left footprints on the moon, NASA's Artemis 1 is our first bold step towards getting us back there and pushing us farther than we've ever been before. You are looking at the world's most powerful rocket and Orion spacecraft live on Launch Pad 39B. The energy here is palpable as we attempt to make history today.
We're going to learn so much about the solar system from the moon and even about the Earth.
Right? Whether it's built for launch.
On behalf of all the men and women across our great nation who have worked to bring the hardware together to make this day possible, at this time, I give you a go to resist count and launch Artemis 1. 4 stations start. 3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And lift off of Artemis 1. We rise together. Back to the moon and beyond. Tesla's now traveling 600 miles per hour. The Artemis climb, better than you. We showed the Space Coast tonight. What a beautiful view it is. The first step in returning our country to the moon and on to Mars. We are understanding now from the James Webb Space Telescope just how big and vast this universe is. There's a lot out there to explore. And this is the next beginning. Orion is now flight free, attached to the European Service Module and on its journey to the moon.
All right, so just a quick overview of the mission. We launched on November 16th, 2022. We spent 26 days going out to the moon and back, and then we splashed down on December 11th, 2022. And the picture on the right, I got to brag for a second. The picture on the right was taken by one of the recovery team helicopters. That was my husband, was in the helicopter. So I'm like, that's his picture. So my husband and I are both space nerds, so we love this stuff, and we spend a lot of time talking space. All right, so a lot of people ask me, why are we going to the moon? We've been to the moon, why are we doing that again? And so the answer to that is pretty easy. The moon is a whole lot closer than Mars is. So we can get to the moon in a couple of days and back in a couple of days. It's going to take us a couple of years to get to Mars, and so we can learn a whole lot in a relatively lower risk environment than going all the way out to Mars and learning the lessons out there. So for us, it's a much better idea to spend the dollars to go back to the moon and then use that as a jumping off point. All right, so where we are today, we've completed Artemis 1. We're getting ready for Artemis 2. The crew has been announced for that mission, and we are training and working to get ready for that mission. So we already have received a large amount of hardware here at KSC, and we're getting ready to stack the rocket, and we've just done some of the pad validation testing, and so we're moving for that launch, ready for that launch for next year. So our next mission, Artemis 3, is the first human surface landing. And then Artemis 4 is my first mission. So it's the first space station assembly mission. And that's the first time we're going to send logistics to deep space. All right, so let me jump into the Gateway. Who has heard of the Gateway program? Oh, good. That's more hands than I expected. I talked to my family and they're like, what? What is that? So Gateway is going to be our lunar outpost. We have a number of international partners. We're working with JAXA, ESA, the Canadian Space Agency, and this is the one I always get wrong, MBRSC. So that's our partners from UAE. All right, so a little intro to what Gateway is.
NASA is going back to the moon. Joining forces with international and commercial partners, NASA is around the world will advance human exploration and further scientific research in deep space for the benefit of all humanity. Built with a minimum 15-year lifespan around the moon, Gateway will be an essential element for long-term Artemis missions and a stepping stone to Mars. But we're not doing it alone. For more than 40 years, NASA has partnered with space agencies around the world to conduct meaningful research on the space shuttle, as well as build and operate the International Space Station. And today, we're expanding those relationships. NASA has once again teamed up with our international and commercial The modules that will enable these new lunar discoveries are being manufactured in the United States and around the world today. With Gateway, we're going back to the moon and looking forward to Mars.
Thank you. So again, I mentioned this before, but we're leveraging our international partners very heavily for this space station, our lunar outpost. Here in the US, we are building the power and propulsion element, which is this lovely guy here. And then next to it, our partners over at Northrop Grumman are building the Habitation and Logistics Outpost, or HALO. Then we've got the Lunar IHAB, that's going to be built by our international partners at AIAA and JAXA. Our Canadian friends are building another arm for us. So they're going to build the third version of their remote arm. And so the Canadarm3. And then our friends at MBRSC are building our airlock. And then our Orion spacecraft is built by Lockheed Martin. And let's see, our HLS, we have two versions of HLS. One will be built by SpaceX, one will be built by Blue Origin, the human lander system. And then up in the top right corner is the Deep Space Logistics Module. That's my baby. Our first two vehicles are going to be built by SpaceX, and then we'll see what the plan is after that. And then we also have a second vehicle from our JAXA friends that will be a larger version of their current HTV. So a couple of facts on the difference between Gateway and the ISS. So I think everybody hopefully is pretty familiar with the ISS. We've been flying for, I think, 25 years now, I think. And it's been uncrewed. It has not been uncrewed in 21 years. So we have that continuous presence in low Earth orbit, which is pretty amazing. But that space station is roughly the size of a 6-bedroom home. The Gateway is more like a studio apartment. It's not very spacious, but it's only made for 4 people. Whereas the ISS, I think right now has 9 people on orbit, 9 or 11. So intended for much different purposes. The ISS was put in low Earth orbit for research and to be able to get to and from quickly and bring a lot of science up there. Gateway will only be crewed for 30 days out of the year. So we're going to have one mission out to Gateway. Our crew will come on Orion, they'll dock to Gateway, they will go transition over to HLS, and then they will go down to the lunar surface, come back to Gateway, transfer all of the samples from HLS onto Orion, bring them home. What that means is they'll need to have logistics. They'll need to have supplies each mission. So that's where deep space logistics comes in, and we're going to bring everything they need. And I should have probably said, if you guys have any questions, just stop me. Feel free to raise your hand. It's up to you. Alex, I see you. He's preparing his questions. So Alex was interning in an office adjacent to ours and worked with us, so I'm going to give him a hard time. So Gateway serves as our lunar base camp, basically, kind of like Everest base camps. It's going to be where we keep all our supplies. It's our safe point between the lunar surface and then coming home. All right, so a little bit more about deep space logistics. We selected SpaceX as our first US commercial provider for under the Deep Space Logistics Services contract. And it's we have multiple supply missions planned, and SpaceX is going to be able to bring 5 tons of cargo up to lunar orbit for us. That includes everything the crew needs. So water, food, clothes, science. And for our first mission, they're also going to be bringing some equipment that needs to get transferred onto Gateway. It will also be our trash removal. So it's our garbage truck when we're done. I'm trying to think if there's anything else exciting on this slide. Contracts, boring. Sorry for contracts people, legal people. So why do we want to do deep space logistics at KSC? Oh, go ahead. I'm going to get to that. We talk about trash a lot. So why do we want to do our logistics at KSC? So the Gateway program is based at JSC, and KSC has a lot more processing capability or processing experience with, we processed all the hardware from ISS, and so we're much more capable when it comes to our payloads, cargo, packing, and we're close to our launch provider. So we drive our stuff down the street, SpaceX packs it in their vehicle, and off it goes. We also have a lot of experience throughout NASA at KSC. We have our launch services program, our commercial crew program, our exploration ground systems, and exploration research and technology divisions. And so that enables us to go pick people that we need for our team that have already done the work for other missions. So we have a lot of experience. All right, so this is what happens when somebody else puts your slides together. Like, what do I want to tell you about this one? So as I mentioned, KSC is home to the Deep Space Logistics Project. Our mission is launching deep space delivery for exploration. And we have a nice little graphic that includes Earth and ISS. So it takes us 20 hours and it's 250 miles away. That's a fun noise. And then to get to the moon, we're looking at a week's travel, 250,000 miles. It's a little bit different. So as I mentioned, we're going to bring all the supplies. We're basically like Gateway's trucking company. So we're going to bring all of the cargo, we're going to bring fuel, and we're going to bring all of the elements. So one of our second mission is going to be to deliver the Canadarm3. All right, so you asked about trash. I'm going to get there. All right, so right now we are in number 1, design, development, and component testing. Eventually, in a couple of years, we'll get to pre-launch and some launch and spacecraft activation. From there, we're going to transit out to NRHO, lunar orbit, and we're going to get to Gateway. We're going to dock. We're going to autonomously dock. And then we're going to we can stay for up to a year. We will dock to the space station, and we will wait for the crew to arrive. Once the crew arrives, they can they can open up our module, come in, unpack all the supplies they need, stay for 30 days. As they use supplies and empty out the module, then they will start to fill it back up with all the trash. Unfortunately, we have a lot of trash. All of the hardware that we take up with us generally gets packed in foam. So one of the projects we're working on right now, which is pretty cool, with a company called Re3D, is how to recycle some of that foam, turn it into media so that we can use it as a 3D printer, in a 3D printer, and print tools or hardware or supplies that we need. Because obviously we can't take a lot of supplies and a lot of spares. So the more that we can recycle, the better. And the less we have to trash, takes up less room, kind of makes sense. So then once the crew leave, we're going to depart Gateway, again, autonomously. And then we will go into a disposal orbit around the sun. So we're just gonna literally shoot our trash to the sun. Go for it.
Is it possible to shoot trash
So we're not going to do that. And I'm sure there's a very good reason for it, but we are just going to go into a parking orbit. And I don't know what the reason is, but I'm sure some very smart person can tell you. It's not me. Any other questions that I can't answer?
As of right now.
Okay. What you got?
Yeah, I imagine the reason really being is just that the amount of energy that it would require to put the trash into the sun and all that.
It probably is, and we don't want to carry that amount of fuel because anything that we carry, we want to be able to use. Go ahead.
But I have a question, continuing off of that. Was there a conscious decision made to physically take the trash out instead of just kind of blowing it through the airlock? Was there a concern with space debris and all that?
So there is a concern with space debris, and the trajectory that we were in NRHO, near rectilinear halo orbit, is a unique one that requires a small amount of fuel. So we only need trajectory adjustments once a year, I think. It's small. It's not like what we do on the space station, on the ISS today. So first of all, we don't have an airlock right away. So for the first 3 or 4 missions, we don't have an airlock, so we can't shoot anything out. Second is that we don't want to hit any of the gateway. And I mean, generally, we want to be good stewards, right? So we have a lot of debris in low Earth orbit. We have a lot of satellites that we have to track. And there's organizations in the US that track down to very small pieces. And I generally just don't think we want to clutter up the moon like that. So, go ahead.
Once a halo reaches its lifespan, is it just going to stay there around orbit, or is there a plan for that?
There is a disposal plan, but I can't tell you what it is. I don't know. I could probably stand up here and make something up, but I'm just generally going to tell you if I don't know. The only disposal I get to see is for the logistics module. But every vehicle we do design has to have a disposal plan and an end-of-life plan. So I know there is one. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to move on. Did you have one? No, okay. All right, so Artemis 4, I mentioned that's the first deep space logistics mission. There are a number of firsts on Artemis 4. It's going to be the first crewed mission to Gateway, so that'll be the first time we dock and enter Gateway. Launch, delivery, and integration of space station modules into lunar orbit. So we're going to pre-position the Halo and PPE modules, and then we're going to dock to it. And then it'll be the first deep space logistics flight to Gateway. We'll be using the SLS 1B at that point, the Block 1B configuration. And we'll be having SpaceX do our first HLS portion. And then we'll be using some of the common SLS elements, our Orion spacecraft, kind of the things that are familiar at this point, right? All right, so this one says, first Gateway components integrated for launch in 2024. Well, here we are in 2024, and let me tell you, that's not going to happen this year. So I mentioned we're going to pre-position Halo and PPE. So that means that we're going to put those two on the same vehicle. They're going to be integrated on the launch vehicle, and we're going to send them up to lunar orbit as they are. So Halo is basically our crew cabin, and then the power and propulsion element, I think that's hopefully obvious, but that has our electric propulsion. It also has some of the initial science demonstration payloads. We're going to be doing some radiation measurements. The radiation environment is a whole lot different than we see on the ISS in low Earth orbit, and so starting to get some of that data to understand how the radiation is going to affect our crew is very important. So why are we launching those two vehicles together? In early 2020, NASA decided that to launch them together on a single vehicle again, we always look at risk. It's a lot less risky to launch them together, to have them already integrated rather than trying to do that in space. So we're going to stack them on a vehicle and we're going to launch them together. And then they're going to be ready and waiting when the logistics module gets there. So all of those things, all of those modules need to be in place before we are ready to launch crew. We don't want the crew to get all the way out to lunar orbit and not be able to get their supplies. That's going to be a waste of a mission, right? So they're going to wait and make sure that we're ready and everything's ready to go before we launch the Artemis 4 crew. And some of the science payloads I talked about, ESA is the one that's developing the radiation instrument. Hermes is a space weather instrument that NASA is building. And then we have a dosimeter array, also from the European Space Agency. All right, that's a lot of boring stats. I'm gonna keep going. All right, cool build pictures. So Northrop Grumman, as I mentioned, is building the Habitation and Logistics Outpost HALO module. And so they have already started manufacturing, and it looks pretty cool. So they've started doing some pressure testing, and they've got some vibe testing going on, and they've gotten their primary structure assembled. There you go, I'm not reading that. Our power and propulsion element, again, that's being built by Maxar, and they've based it on their 1300 spacecraft bus. So again, we're trying to utilize heritage hardware, existing hardware, things that we know work, that we can continue to develop and build upon the technology that's out there. Yeah, we got some really cool build pictures. And then up in the top right, that is testing of the thruster, which I think that's just a really neat picture. All right, and there's the NASA, all the things. Join us. Be on social media with us, and you can see all of the cool build pictures and where we're at and all the latest stuff.
So on the previous slide, I noticed that the thrusters they're electronic thrusters.
They're ion electric propulsion.
Was it always that way, or is that something new? I'm not familiar with space.
I think that's the first time we're using it for a manned vehicle. All right, and I will just throw out a plug for AIAA. I have been an AIAA member since I was a freshman. I was chair of the student branch down at Florida Tech. I am now chair of the Cape Canaveral section. AIAA is just a great place to meet people in the industry. I met a lot of folks that can help you build your network through AIAA. So not only are you fortunate that you have a large class that you can draw for those resources from, but you will meet people in the industry that you will continue to meet throughout your career. And so I can't say enough good things about AIAA. Our chief engineer on our program is an AIAA technical fellow. And she is the first female chief engineer at KSC, so she's pretty cool. But yeah, it's a good organization professionally, and you meet some pretty cool people. All right, questions? Am I done? I can be done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Susie, for coming out. All right, everybody, that concludes our GBM. Thank you all for staying and hearing about us, and we hope to see you at all our projects.